Please be seated. It's good to see you all here. I know you look out on a day like this, you get the weather report, you think, boy, it'd be really nice to sit at home, sit cuddled by the fire, surrounded by family. So I'm glad that you chose to come and be a part of this family today. I know yesterday it was also cold, and I was thinking, boy, it'd be a nice day to spend indoors. But then we had daddy-daughter ballet class together with my daughter. I learned a lot about myself there. One thing, I am not flexible. We're here in this season after Epiphany, and we are hearing about God's call to us. Right now we're hearing portions of the Sermon on the Mount. It's Jesus' most famous sermon. It was delivered to a group of unlikely people who gathered around Jesus on top of a mountain. They were unlikely because they were the outsiders, the working class, refugees, foreigners, scapegoats. They were forgotten by others, ignored, overlooked, and used. Jesus began his famous sermon with blessings, what we call the Beatitudes. He was speaking directly to those unlikely people by telling them that they were loved by God no matter what. And we heard those blessings last week. Today's gospel is the continuation of that sermon, where Jesus begins to define their responsibility, our responsibility in this world. And in doing so, he told us to be the salt of the earth. Now, Jesus wasn't a scientist. He wasn't talking about the makeup of salt in a scientific term. But he did know a few things about salt. I know this because he was baptized in the Jordan River and then spent 40 days fasting and praying in the wilderness in that area around that spot. And that spot is very near the Dead Sea. And the Dead Sea is the Dead Sea because it is very salty. So salty that not a plant or animal can live there. I've been there, and I've seen the salt pillars and the beaches of salt that Jesus would have seen. So Jesus knew what salt could do. Over the past several weeks, we have seen a little bit of salt here in Bronxville. We spread it around to get rid of ice, but it does a lot more than that. It also eats away at sidewalks and cars and a lot of other things. So when Jesus asked us to be the salt of the earth, was he asking us to be corrosive and life-ending? I think not. When someone is termed salty in the English language, it means that they get upset over trivial things. They complain and dwell on negative situations. Generally, people are exhausted by the effort of being around salty people. So when Jesus asked us to be the salt of the earth, was he asking us to be bitter and unforgiving and cranky? Maybe using some colorful language? Salt definitely can be caustic and crass and resentful and irritable. But salt also provides our food with wonderfully distinctive flavors that we often find pleasurable. One of our issues as humans is that we like to have things in very clear categories. Things are good or bad. Salt is good or bad. People are good or bad. Groups are good or bad. But sorting things into black and white piles or categories overlooks the nuance and the depths of reality. things are rarely that clear. Jesus said to his followers that they were to be the salt of the earth. What I think he was saying is that we each have a call to give of ourselves, our unique gifts and talents for the good of the world, a light in the darkness. And that means that we will sometimes make others uncomfortable. Sometimes we will make ourselves uncomfortable. Like when we shout out and lift up our voice like a trumpet to loose the bonds of injustice. At the same time, we will mix together to make an end product better than what each of us brings on our own. We will appreciate that unique taste and will savor it during good times and bad times. It raises us up and inspires us through the Spirit of God. For Jesus, being salty is about, one, bringing ourselves together to support each other in good and bad times, being a community of love and inclusion, to be something pleasurable and better than we can be on our own. And two, about being impatient and irritable about injustice in the world. Now, there are certainly other reasons that people might have gathered here today, but these are two primary purposes for gathering in a church. If you were to rank them, which would be the most important to you? Let's be clear. No matter which one you prefer today, they are both essential for a church. We can't do one without the other. We need to be places of loving and supporting people and places that help apply God's vision in a world that encourages us to stray from God's heavenly kingdom. That's what we need more than ever right now. We need places like this to give us the strength and the fortitude to live out what God is calling us to be and do. Today we will gather after this service for our annual meeting. We will celebrate what we accomplished together in 2025, and we will begin to imagine, to dream about what we will do together in 2026 and in 2027 and for the many years to come. We need to do this together. We can provide a structure and the energy to make the world a better place for those of us who are here in this community and for the many people, our neighbors, with whom we minister. Christ Church needs you. We need your saltiness to make God's kingdom come alive. We are all part of this fabric that God has called to make a difference in the world. Go and do. Be what God has called you to be. And the world will respond. Amen.